Crown Money, where we show you how to pay your home loan off in up to half the time of a normal bank loan.
Okay, guys, welcome to the Crown Money podcast. My name's Scott, founder and owner of Crown Money, and we have on the call two of our up-and-coming clients, James and Jessie. They're new to the Crown family, but we'd love to just hear a little bit about their experience, what they found works, what hasn't worked, and more importantly, what the future holds for them. So, guys, welcome, and thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you for having us.
Yep, thank you for having us.
Yeah. I've been excited for this. I obviously see so many clients, but just your results and what you've been able to achieve has been nothing short of insane. So keen to dive into that. But let's start at the very start. Can you take me back to what life was like before we started with Crown Money, how this all came about? Take me to life before Crown.
Yeah, so life before Crown, I was studying. I did a lot of study before we started this program, and then when we jumped onto the program, I had just started working. So James, in that time while I was studying, was pretty well the sole income earner. So, yes.
Tough, tight.
Yeah,
survival.
I was working away at the time and earning good money, but just not seeing any progress. So, like, it almost felt like we were not sinking, but we weren't going forwards. We were just sort of stagnant, had no real plan on how to, get further ahead. We were just sort of staying in the same spot.
Yeah. Treading water, they would say.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And that's frustrating for a lot of families. Like, you working away, like, you're sacrificing time with your family, friends, missing birthdays, those sort of things. Like, man, I'm all well and good to do that as long as I can see us moving forward financially. But if we're spinning the wheels, that's where the frustration starts to build.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so what were those frustrations like? What did you feel was missing in terms of you and your money and around your mortgage back then?
Just any sort of, no structure. So money would come in and it would go out quicker than it was coming in. Probably had a heap of subscriptions and stuff like that we weren't really keeping on top of. So, like, the outgoings weren't really monitored.
No.
There was we weren't monitoring anything coming out of the account. It was just sort of just out.
Yeah.
Pay goes in, money goes out.
And also the mortgage. Like, we didn't see that move.
Yeah, we didn't see the mortgage move for
however long we were, 7 years.
Yeah.
Didn't really move at all. So,
Wow, 7 years, a long time to be paying every single month and just going sideways.
Yeah.
And so what was that point where you said, do you know what, we've got to be doing something different? Like, this isn't working. Like, what was that point in your lives? Did you sit down and have a chat one night, or how did it all come about where we need to make a change?
This one's a funny story how we came about it, wasn't it? You had sort of heard about the idea of it, but didn't know about Crown.
No, so I got I've got ADHD, so I get hyper focused on things, and I got hyper focused on that guy called Graham Holm and the Infinity Group, and I was sort of just like watching all his stuff, doing the free webinars and just trying to sell it to Jessie, and then
he posted a picture of it on his story, and Ruben actually, I don't even know how they had each other on Facebook or whatever.
Fate.
Yeah, and then Ruben reached out and said, "Oh, I work for Crown. This is similar."
He's like, kind of. Yeah, let me have a chat to you. And let me pick your brain. And it was one phone call, and
he had us.
Never looked back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Saved by the bell.
Yeah,
literally saved by the bell.
Yeah, we run a very different program to Infinity. Infinity charge a lot of money each and every year. We're very big believers in just basically helping clients pay off their house faster, not charging them every year to do that.
Yeah.
And obviously he's trying to push people into apartments and investments because that's where the biggest commissions are. We're just focused on let's pay your house off as fast as you possibly can. So you weren't even friends on Facebook. You just literally saw something that you posted and then reached out and you're like, who's this random?
Yeah, pretty much. And now I'd call him a mate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yes.
And so, when you first heard from Ruben, what did he say that sort of sparked your interest? Because obviously you deep dived into Graham. A lot of the stuff that he's doing, you can probably see is quite similar to us.
Yep.
Call that a coincidence, what it may be. We've been doing it for 25 years. He's been doing it for a little bit less than that.
Yeah.
But what would you say that Ruben said was like, okay, this actually could be a little bit more suitable for us?
Just the way that we'd be making our money, everything that we earn work for us, not against us. Because you don't know what you don't know. So I try to educate myself as much as possible. But when you've got someone telling you, like, hey, like, we've got this plan and this structure that literally works, and like, just give me the chance to show you your numbers in front of you. It took me a bit to convince this one.
Yeah, I was quite skeptical because I was like, it sounds so good to be true. Like, how can it be? And yeah, the first call with Ruben, we were just like, absolutely, I'm in. We were so excited.
Yeah, that's probably, if you were to say what my biggest sort of frustration or struggle is 25 years of hearing every single day of my life, this sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people who are sitting exactly where you were and thinking, this does sound too good to be true? Like, what's your message to those people, knowing that you've sat exactly where they are with that same mindset?
Well, we've told about seven of our friends that have all, or like, I think it's up to 6 now, that have all joined from us, just showing them what we've done. Like, we're both, normal income earners. We don't earn huge amounts of money, but I think our story's a little bit different with what we've done in the last 3-4 months. But I think in the first month we paid off like $7,000 of our principal in a month.
Yeah.
So like, on normal incomes, we're just a normal family of 4. Just shows if you've got the right things in place and the right team behind you, you can achieve anything. So like, don't think about it, because we live in a generation, in a world where banks sell you pay the minimum repayment on refinance every 2 years and get $1,000 cash back. And so, yeah, I look at mortgage brokers now like the enemy, but.
Well, I mean, like, at the end of the day, they have only got the tools that they've got access to, which are the ones that the banks give them access to. And the banks obviously are in the business of keeping people in debt, not out of debt, because that's where the interest is charged. And that's where the shareholders are happier. So, like, that's the game. No one knows that. But once you sort of have a light shine on it, like, oh, actually, this actually starts to make a little bit of sense here. And so paying $7,000 off your mortgage in 1 month, can you remember what you were paying off for your old mortgage for, like, would have been probably close to that a year?
Yeah, literally.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
You paid a year's worth off in your first month, and was that you got the statement from Ruben and you think, oh, is this a typo? Like, is this actually happening?
Yeah. Well, we were kind of obsessed with just checking it all the time, like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And we were still going on holidays and, enjoying and living life, but it just feels so much easier now and less stress-free. Yeah.
Yep.
Stress-free is a key part. Like, it's a huge part of that. The amount of weight on families where that financial stress, but especially with everything going up, right, with food, petrol, the works, it's like getting more and more stressful. Incomes haven't increased as much. And so just to be able to have that peace of mind saying everything's automated, everything's in place, we don't have to worry about money anymore. We just have to worry about earning it and spending it. But that spending is conscious. And that's, I think, the big shift there. Yeah,
definitely taught us how to want versus need, how to sort of account for things a lot better. We work better as a team now. Yeah. Because if there's any big purchases, we have to discuss it, because it's not as simple as just going and buying something big. We discuss it, we talk about it, and it's taught her to be good with money. It's a game now. It's a game. Like, what can we do with our leftovers?
Wow, that's great. When you do gamify, it does become like, we have so many clients go, but I just I wait for that statement every month just to see what my numbers are, what my results are. Yeah. And I think that is such a key to get to that point of gamifying it, where you're not sort of feeling like it's a sacrifice or it's a struggle. It's like, man, this is a game, and we want to just blitz this game and crush it and get to the big boss of mortgage free as fast as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And so when you started with Crown, like, what was it like at the start? Because it's different, right? It's a different structure. It's a different way of having the money flow. Like, how did that feel like for the first month or two, where it's so, this is like, it's so backwards to what we were doing?
I really struggled to begin with, not with the 750 that we're on. I struggled with, I was able to get redraws if I wanted to for like things such as, kids sports or school fees and stuff like that. But I felt like it was wrong to get the redraws. I felt like, no, but now I'm like, no, we're like, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Our 750 is not for that stuff. That is not what that's for. That's for our, everyday kind of expenses.
Yeah.
So that's what I struggled with, but now I'm a lot better.
Yeah, it's something where, not that I designed it this way, but like one of the side effects is people start to feel a little bit guilty
when you read
every time.
Yeah,
which is like it's your money to do whatever you want with, but that voice in your head, that's the key. That's that conscious spending. It's like normally I just tap it. I know the money's there. I don't have to think about it. But I've got to think about it, have a chat with James about it. That whole process stops impulse buys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and if we can like save you 1-2 impulse buys a year, keep that money off your principal working for you.
Yeah,
that's where it starts to compound, and the snowball effect starts to get faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
And so in terms of like your mindset now as to where it was when you first started, you've moved into a bigger, better house.
Yeah.
We're now being able to renovate that.
Yeah.
Was that ever on the cards before starting with Crown, or once you started with Crown, so wow, what else can we do? What else is possible?
Yeah, well, probably not. We probably didn't think of it earlier on in the piece, but then we seen what we were capable of, and with like obviously the way the market is and the way things are moving so quickly, we're like, this is probably like there's never a right time to go make that bigger move, take on the bigger mortgage. But I felt safe and secured taking that leap, knowing that we had the team behind us.
Yeah.
Which made the whole thing, like I remember ringing Ruben and being like, hey, mate, this is what I want to do. We'd only been on the program for about 3 months at that point, and I was like, yeah, I want to move now.
Yeah.
Take on the bigger mortgage now because I know that we're capable of like smashing it as quick as we possibly can.
And also having him there whenever we
everyone,
needed.
the whole team.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah.
But he was the one that was kind of like, don't get yourself in too much debt, because we were looking at a lot more expensive properties to buy.
He talks sense into us.
Yeah, he talks sense into us.
We couldn't be happier.
We love the place we've got.
Yeah, we're in the best financial position we've ever been in, and we've only been with the company for 6 months now.
No, it's a bit longer than that.
Bit longer?
Yeah, it's about 8-10 months. Yeah.
Okay.
8, 9.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a huge turnaround to within 8 months. Like most people say, if you do that in 8 years, it's a pretty good 8 years. But to do that within a course of 1 year, it's onwards and upwards. And I think that's the other key as well. Is like there's not many people in Australia where you actually tell a client something which is going to cost you more money. And what I mean by that is obviously Ruben would have got paid more money the more debt you go into.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas he's like, no, it's not about me or lining my pockets. I want what's best for you and your family.
Yeah.
As much as I would get paid more,
I never
I'm going to tell you
that.
not to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I've had experiences in the past with mortgage brokers that have been like, because we have an investment property and they're trying to, he literally told me I could pull out every inch of equity possible and put it in another account to put me in as much debt as possible. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. So didn't have my best interests at heart. I'm glad I didn't listen to that guy, and I'm glad that I found Ruben when I did. Yeah.
So, brokers, banks, the whole game is to be debt as high as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And so when you're a broker and you're saying to clients, let's just rip all the equity out and basically borrow up to 80% of the value of the house, and you're like, well, I don't need that much money, but he gets paid on that 80% loan amount.
Yep.
And so there's a vested interest for him to tell you that. And then obviously the banks are hoping that you nibble into it. And over time, it's like, we started with that $100,000 just sitting there in the other account, but we got the car. We actually deserve a caravan. And all of a sudden, next minute, like, man, that $100,000 just evaporated.
Yeah.
With nothing that was not planned. It was just we spend what we have access to as humans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, speaking to each other more about finance is really healthy. There's usually most families, there's one person who sort of like does the finances.
That was me.
Who's that? So that's you?
That was me,
And so I can only assume life before Crown, it was all the weight's on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Jessie just doing her. And like, man, that's
doing her own thing. Yeah.
Just spending.
Yeah, mortgages getting paid, bills are getting paid. How are they getting paid?
Doesn't matter. They're getting paid. That's a James problem. And so how's it felt now to have Jessie on the same page, actually invested in the financial position of the family, and more importantly, like that psychology shift for her now that she is conscious of what's happening?
Yeah.
How
How
do
does
you
it feel? No, how does it feel for you? Did you have less weight on your shoulders now?
I don't have to really think about it anymore.
Yeah.
I literally, like, interest rates are going up. It doesn't phase me one bit. I don't need to think about that. I don't need to think when we've got a bill coming in, how it's getting paid. It just
Yes.
gets paid.
Yeah.
So I can just live my life,
Yeah.
do what I like to do. I don't have to be looking at my bank account going, oh, shit, like, are we going to be able to afford that this week? Or
Man, that's
doesn't matter.
amazing.
It
Yeah.
is the best.
It's the best. It,
Everyone
honestly,
right now
it's the best.
is freaking out because rates are going
Yeah,
up.
they are.
The average
Massively.
Australian
Yep.
is like, oh my God, the rates are going, like, it's stress, it's anxiety.
Yep.
And that's because they've been looking at the wrong number. And so banks and brokers want you to look at the rate. Why do they want you to look at the rate? Because they need a reason to get you to move every 2 to 3 years or reset your loan term back to 30 years
Yeah.
so they can get paid again.
Yeah.
And as long as they can say, hey, I've got a cheaper rate over here in 3 years' time, your mindset's like, oh, that must be saving me money. I'm going to do that. It's best thing for me financially. They
Yep.
move you, but they reset the loan term back to 30 years. And one thing I know is if you're trying to finish a 30-kilometer marathon, you keep going back to the start line every 3 kilometers, you just never finish.
Yeah.
And that's what the game is. That's why 50% of Australians are going to basically retire with a mortgage and have to use their super to pay it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means they've got nothing left for retirement. They're living on a pension. It's like, man, is this really where I'm at after working 40 years?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think for you guys, like getting the system set up now, getting the accountability, the coaching, the tracking, the measuring, everything that goes into it, that's why you're getting these results of paying $7,000 off in a month versus $7,000 in a year. And so those are the keys where a lot of people say, well, what's different like about this? Why can't I just do this myself? What would you answer to that question be? Why can't I just do this myself?
Well, heaps of people think that they can do it themselves. And it's the, I can fix everything attitude. But without the right people and the right team behind you, I would almost say it would be impossible. That's why so many people pay the minimum repayment and finish their working career with a house, still with a mortgage, and
100%.
yeah.
100%. I like the gym analogy. It works so well is everyone knows how to get abs.
Yeah.
Gym membership, abs. That never happens.
Nah.
It never happens. But I can promise you, you have the same gym membership plus the personal trainer and a nutritionist and a strength and conditioning coach and a psychologist. I think you're probably going to get abs.
Yeah, that's so true.
Exactly.
And so that's what we sort of bring to the table. It's like we bring the team that's going to help you not only just do what you think you can do by yourself, but outperform what you're going to be able to do by yourself. And that's, from our perspective, is we guarantee we'll get you fitter in the first 12 months on this system than what you are by yourself. And if we don't and we can't, we'll pay you every single fee back.
Yeah.
Like that's as much belief in what we do is because I know what works. If we can, as I said, separate your income from your living expenses, plus then we also have your income working for you. We automate everything and you can just go about spending and earning. We quarantine those impulse buys because we don't have direct access to every single dollar we earn, which is the secret, like separating that income from your living expenses and flipping the script that we're all taught at schools. Income minus savings equals, income minus expenses equals savings. No one has any savings. And so you flip it and go income minus savings equals expenses, paying yourself first. Now we're paying off a house in 12 years instead of 30 years.
Yeah.
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 What's the next 5+ years look like for you guys? Like you guys have moved so much in 8 months. I mean, what's on the horizon?
Oh, we are just driven to, start. We'll be going up in our work, earning more.
Yep.
We're committed to paying off our mortgage in the less amount than
Less time.
what
they're saying.
what they're saying. That's our goal.
Yep. As well as still living.
Yeah.
So like
That's the key.
90% of the time we're sticking to our budget, doing the structure, doing the program, and then 10% we're living our life and enjoying it.
Yep. And that's the key, the journey. And so like this is not about living on bread and water so you can pay a house off in 7 years. I'd much rather you go on holidays every single year with your family.
Mm-hmm.
You get to enjoy those experiences, and as a result, you paid off in 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're still 15 years ahead of where you would have been anyway.
Yeah.
But you've actually got to enjoy the journey, and,
Yeah.
and that I think is that right balance. People think, well, this for me to get those sort of results, I must have to sacrifice my lifestyle. I said, not necessarily. You just got to use your money to work smarter rather than harder, and more importantly, have a plan, have a structure, have some accountability, have some tracking, measuring. You're pretty much most of the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're just making every dollar that we do earn work for us instead of being sitting in a savings account waiting to be spent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not even keeping up with inflation.
No, not even close.
And so, just to finish off here, what would you say to that person who, like, is sitting on the fence? They've sat with us and they're thinking, oh, I don't know, like the numbers look too good. If it was this easy, why isn't everyone doing it? What would you say to that person who sat with us but is sort of still not sure about whether or not this is for them?
Well, the only thing I regret is not finding this earlier. Like, if we had signed, if we found out about this program
When we started our loan,
well, yeah,
we'd be
we would
mortgage free.
Like, honestly, so as soon as you can start, do it. That's what I would say. Like, don't delay.
Yeah, we were in the trap. Like we were like pretty young. I was like, yeah, the cash backs, the refinancing, the better rate, because I didn't know anything. I didn't take the time to educate myself about how to do it properly. And now we've done, like I said, in 1 month we did what we did in a year. Obviously, it's a bit different at the moment with doing renos and stuff like that. But once they're done, we're just pumped to see what we can achieve.
Yeah, I think the results just speak for themselves, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like they do speak for themselves. So let's run through a savings rate. So were you aware of what a savings rate was before you came to Crown?
No.
Not really, no.
No, and not many people are. And so for those listeners out there, a savings rate is what percentage of your income you keep. Everyone's so focused on what they earn, absolutely irrelevant. Like irrelevant. We've got lawyers on $440,000 a year, saving $40,000 a year, and most people will be clapping their hands, doing cartwheels. That's a savings rate of 10%. They're only saving 10% of what they earn. And then you've got other people out there who are on $85,000 a year and saving 15 grand, and that as a savings rate is far, far more than the 10%. And so the whole savings rate is like, it's another measuring tool, which we find it's very, very useful. And if we can increase that savings rate each year, that's a massive win. Just for context, the average savings rate in Australia is 5%. What does that mean? For every $100 an Australian earns, they keep 5. They spend 95.
Wow.
And so your savings rate is 5 times the average Australian.
Wow.
25% savings rate.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
For that, I guess you guys are living, you're holidaying, you got kids. Like, this is an expensive time of your life, and you're still somehow able to save 25 cents every dollar you earn.
Yeah.
It's an amazing achievement. Like, it's average Australians doing 5, you're at 25. And so you're not doing anything crazy. You guys aren't both doctors sitting there pulling in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year each. You've got a standard mortgage with standard incomes, with a standard number of kids, and to have a 25% savings rate is just unbelievably impressive. So congratulations to you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That's it. So thank you so much for coming on. Wow, what a transformation. 8 months, man. I cannot wait to see the next 8 years.
I know.
And then we'll be doing our debt-free phone call together, where every 23 days I get to call a client and say, you paid your house off today.
Oh,
and
so
that
good.
is
That's
an
gold.
insane day.
I cannot wait for that day.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Every single month we're getting closer to this. And I think the other thing to take into account is with this snowball effect, or we call it reverse compound interest. Like, you know how your superannuation goes up? Like, it's getting put, your employees putting in super each and every month, or pay, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And that super balance, you're seeing, it keeps going and going and going. Your mortgage is reverse compound interest. And what that means is every single month as the debt comes down, so does the amount of interest you pay, because you get charged interest on a daily amount. So the lower your debt, the lower your interest.
Yep.
As the years progress, your debt plummets, your interest plummets. That means more of your salary is sitting off the principal. And so the first 8 months is the worst 8 months, because your debt's the highest and your interest is the highest. You wait and see a year, 2 years, your savings rate's just going to go up because you're paying less interest.
Yeah.
So
Amazing. Amazing.
So good.
Couldn't do it without yous.
No, you guys doing all the hard work. We've just given you the tools, but
Yes.
as you said, this is a direct result of your psychology, your shift in your sort of behavioural spending, and I think I'm stoked for James, to be honest. Like, he was very close to going down one path,
Very close.
and then from there somehow randomly tripped over Ruben.
Oh,
Ruben said the
amazing.
right thing that landed, and then just to have Jessie on the same page as James, like what that does for a relationship, like it's solid foundation for you to launch off.
Yeah.
And your kids are watching your moves and your actions, less about your words, more about what and how you're doing things, and be able to pass these money management skills onto them. Imagine them from the get-go.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Set for life. They're going to be set for life.
Exactly.
So,
Set for life.
yeah, congratulations. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, and continue on with the good work.
Thanks so much
Awesome.
for having us.
Thanks. Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Thank you.